OneXPlayer is a bit of an outlier in the world of computers. The OneXPlayer is a handheld touchscreen PC with built-in gamepad controllers that can be operated with a single hand. Think of it as a high-end Nintendo Switch that runs Windows and is built entirely out of PC technology that you're already familiar with, and you'll be close to the mark. The OneXPlayer by One Netbook is a handheld computer that is specifically designed for gaming. One Netbook's mini laptop is the latest in a long line of compact computers from the Chinese business, which has previously specialized in mini laptops, which are small clamshell-style computers with integrated keyboards. Built-in game controllers are mounted on either side of the device's 8.4-inch touchscreen display, replacing the keyboard that was originally included. In addition to being powered by an Intel Tiger Lake processor and Intel Iris Xe graphics, the OneXPlayer has the horsepower necessary to run many recent PC games. One Netbook managed to create a gaming device that can be carried around with you and used to play games almost any place by compressing the internals of a respectable laptop into a device that is small enough to grasp in your hands. This computer can be operated without the use of a keyboard thanks to a number of specific function keys. When playing modern 3D games that place a significant strain on the computer's CPU and GPU, I can quite reliably predict that you'll get roughly 2 to 3 hours of battery life out of the device. Alternatively, you can attach any third-party wired or wireless keyboard to your computer using USB or Bluetooth. Furthermore, 2 USB 4 ports with capabilities for 40 gigabits per second data connections should allow you to add an external GPU if necessary. Furthermore, there are 2 speakers, albeit they are little and tinny. They are not particularly good, but they will suffice in an emergency. You're better off using headphones whenever feasible, if only to drown out the noise created by the fans working to keep the handheld cool, which is a difficult task when you're gaming. Because the handheld is powered by Intel's Tiger Lake processors, you'll have access to some exciting next-generation features like Wi-Fi 6 and USB 4.0 support, which means you'll be able to connect it directly to a 4K monitor or an external GPU dock in the future if you so want. An external display equipped with a USB dock is an excellent partner for this system, and we'll discuss it in more detail later. The OneXPlayer makes use of a conventional Windows 10 installation, which means you may use it for any task that you would typically perform on a PC. And, despite its unique form aspect, it has no trouble running all of the software and games you're accustomed to because, in terms of software, it's no different from any other PC. For those who prefer a more extensive, higher resolution screen, this is good news. You get a more immersive gaming experience as well as more screen area to see fine details in games, films, web pages, and anything else you'd be looking at on a PC screen in this case. How much more significant is the OneXPlayer in comparison to the rest of the field? You can virtually fit the entire body of the GPD Win 3 on the screen space of the OneXPlayer, which is a small amount of space. The OneXPlayer also outperforms its peers in terms of gaming and other tasks that place a strain on a computer's available resources. While most laptops with Intel Tiger Lake processors are configured to run at 15 watts by default, the OneXPlayer is configured to run at 20 watts by default, with a turbo button that allows you to increase that value to 28 watts for an extra power boost at any time. If you've ever played on the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch Lite and your hands were sore by the end of it, think of the OneXPlayer as the big brother of the Nintendo Switch. Weighing in at over 800 grams, 825 grams to be exact, the OneXPlayer feels like a giant Nintendo Switch Lite. If you were to play the OneXPlayer handheld while sitting down, you would find it to be pleasant and straightforward to use. The shell is ergonomically intended to guide your palms on the device, allowing you to enjoy a more comfortable gaming environment. But how does it feel to be that big? The OneXPlayer is composed of a high-quality ABS material that is both durable and lightweight. For the rest of us, that's plastic. After several hours of gaming on the OneXPlayer, we were unable to detect any heat emanating from the case, and it remained pleasant to handle. The buttons on the front of the device are gratifying to push, but they are not clicky. They are more on the mushy side. Even when compared to the Nintendo Switch Lite, the D-pad is a respectable device. Because they employ the Alps design, the dual joysticks are incredibly responsive, and pressing on them is a pleasurable experience. During my 2 to 3 weeks of use, I did not observe any joystick drift. While the Aya Neo Founders Edition has analog buttons, and the GPD Win 3 has digital analog buttons, the OneXPlayer has analog and trigger buttons. They are especially welcome in first-person shooters and racing games. In addition, you'll find a dedicated button for the on-screen keyboard, as well as a fun turbo button. The volume up and down buttons are located on the back, where your fingers rest. The OneXPlayer of displays. This device has a lot of definitions. Its GPU might be a little bit fragile. The display is 8.4 inches diagonally and has a resolution of 2560 by 1600 pixels. There are 358 pixels per inch, and it is really stunning. When you compare the OneXPlayer display to that of the GPD Win 3 or Aya Neo, you'll notice a significant difference right away. Then, depending on the type of game you are playing, you will either love the display for its quality and resolution, or you will reduce the resolution and quality of games to enhance performance and battery life. In order to extend the battery's life and make it more sustainable, it is sensible to get the SinKeu portable power station, which is a handheld power source. In addition to having two 110V AC outlets, the handheld SinKeu also features DC ports, one of which is a quick charge 3.0 USB port, making it an excellent portable power source. Why should you choose this SinKeu portable power station with the OneXPlayer over other options on the market? The SinKeu is a low-cost, lightweight option that is easy to transport. It also has the ability to swiftly recharge the battery of the OneXPlayer in less than an hour. You may take the OneXPlayer and the SinKeu with you anywhere you want. Despite the fact that the OneXPlayer is enormous, you can purchase the LXY Vegan Leather Backpack Vintage, which is large enough to accommodate both devices comfortably. The book bag is large enough to accommodate both the OneXPlayer and the LXY Vegan Leather Backpack without a problem. The SinKeu, on the other hand, is a stylish and small power station that has AC, DC, and USB outlets. It also features two AC ports, two DC ports, and two QC3 ports. Furthermore, the USB ports can accommodate a wide range of power supply requirements. The SinKeu has a voltage of 110 volts and a power of 100 watts. This can be used to power tiny home appliances such as fans, computers, and other similar devices. Furthermore, the QC 3.0 USB output can charge your cell phone or camera up to 3 times faster than a standard charger. The LED screen makes it possible to see exactly how much electricity is left. As a result, the SinKeu power station is an excellent match for the OneXPlayer. It is also possible to change the kickstand, which allows you to fine-tune the angle at which the screen is slanted. When gaming or setting up the small computer for other purposes such as viewing videos, accessing the web, or performing other things, this can be really useful. Because, at its core, the OneXPlayer may resemble a game console, but it is actually a full-fledged computer that is capable of doing all of those functions. In addition to being a touchscreen display, the display is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 5. The viewing angles are acceptable, but not spectacular. In really bright situations, the display does not appear to be as vibrant as you might expect. Given that the OneXPlayer is intended to be a portable gadget that can be carried around with you, the brightness is not ideal. Taking the OneXPlayer with you in bright sunlight in a park and expecting the display will pop isn't going to happen, realistically. However, due to its massive weight of 825 grams, you won't be transporting the OneXPlayer everywhere, realistically. The OneXPlayer comes pre-installed with Microsoft Windows 10 Home. This can either be a wonderful thing, or you can despise it and install Popos instead. The fact that Valve created SteamOS for the Steam Deck demonstrates that Windows 10 is not a suitable operating system for gaming handhelds. Let's take a look at it from two different views. For starters, having Windows installed on an Intel mobile device allows you to dock it and use it as a work PC when necessary. It is also capable of running the vast majority of software currently available. With a Windows operating system, you may also install a dashboard, which allows you to present your games with larger icons. There are a variety of alternative approaches that can be used to make Windows accessible for a small touchscreen. Being able to run games on Popos, for example, and through the Proton compatibility layer has both advantages and problems. Because SteamOS is more lightweight than Windows, it is more suitable for gaming. However, not all games will run on SteamOS. The fact that the OneXPlayer is essentially an Intel-based computer is one of its most appealing features. With this, you will be able to install whatever you want on the computer. We received the Intel Core i7-1195G7 processor, which was paired with the Z graphics in our OneXPlayer. The processor has the ability to ramp up to 5.00 GHz. In addition, the OneXPlayer that we evaluated has 16 GB of LPDDR4X RAM built in. Because the GPU capability of built-in graphics is determined by the amount of RAM available, the OneXPlayer is compelling thanks to its 16 GB of RAM. What games are available for use with the OneXPlayer? Well, I'm delighted you inquired. You'd expect to be able to play Cyberpunk 2077 at a high level at this pricing range, which we'll address further below. Well, it's a little more complicated than that. The OneXPlayer is capable of running games such as Apex Legends at up to 120 frames per second. CS:GO may also achieve frame rates of 235 to 238 frames per second. In the same way that you can fine-tune the quality of any PC game to obtain more excellent frame rates and longer battery life, you can do the same with this one. Because you have a plethora of alternatives, you should be aware that everyone's experience will be unique and dependent on their tastes. If all you plan on doing is picking up the OneXPlayer and playing Far Cry 6 on high, you might want to consider a PS5. Game titles such as Being, Terraria, and Minecraft performed admirably on high settings, but other, more demanding titles such as Microsoft Flight Simulator required the use of low settings. As previously noted, the OneXPlayer is equipped with a turbo button that allows you to increase the TDP of the processor on the fly, but this may deplete your battery's capacity. Lastly, when it comes to battery life, the OneXPlayer offers 15,300 mAh or 58 watts of power. You can get away with 3/4 of an hour of screen time for both traditional and indie gaming activities. However, if you plan on finishing Tomb Raider, which, by the way, is a fantastic game, you'll need to keep a charger close by. In this review, we will examine if the OneXPlayer is worth your time and money. The OneXPlayer is the latest in a series of portable gaming computers that will be released later this year, in 2021, according to the company. As a result, the GPD Win 3, which boasts a 5.5-inch display, an Intel Tiger Lake engine, and a slide-up display that conceals a capacitive touchscreen, as well as a new Aya Neo, are now available with a 7-inch display, no keyboard, and an AMD Ryzen 5 4500U processor. It is one of the most powerful netbooks on the market, with compatibility for up to an Intel Core i7-1185G7 processor, Intel Iris Z graphics, 16 GB of RAM, and 2 TB of PCIe NVMe storage. With an 8.4-inch display, it's also the largest of the group of devices. However, the massive size of the OneXPlayer's body has some drawbacks. It weighs approximately 1.8 pounds, making it slightly heavier than the Neo, 1.5 pounds, and Win 3, 1.2 pounds. Furthermore, the OneXPlayer weighs nearly twice as much like a Nintendo Switch, 0.9 pounds with the Joy-Con controllers attached. If you're solely using your arms to support the device, it can be a little difficult to hold single-handedly or even with two hands for an extended amount of time if you're holding it in one hand. However, if you're sitting or lying down, it's simple to balance the bottom of the OneXPlayer on your lap while clutching the sides of the device with your hands, resulting in little to no strain on your arms. Some computers, such as the OneXPlayer, are general-purpose computers that can also be used for gaming. Nevertheless, The OneXPlayer's design makes it clear that it is first and foremost a gaming computer that can also be used for other things. However, it is a reasonably powerful tiny computer for its size. So, who is the best candidate to purchase the OneXPlayer? For this money, you can obtain a low-end UMPC as well as a PlayStation 5. What are the benefits of purchasing it? It's a one-of-a-kind collectible. It is not a Nintendo Switch, and it will never be one in the near future. The OneXPlayer is intended for those of you who value the form factor as well as technological advancement and wish to contribute to this niche market.